as soon as those ducks hit this bean field, it was a mad dash for every bean in this field. Ducks were using it, working it, and they were off to the races. They were sprinting.
January, Oklahoma, lake season in a cut bean field with about 4 dozen floater decoys cut into frozen ground. That's a lot of ducks.
They were coming from everywhere.
I've never been able to go out and hunt the same field 3 days in a row and absolutely smash them.
A home for us to be successful, it's all about scouting. You know, it's knocking on doors, it's public land, it's doing what you've got to do to kill a duck. Our season is closed. Luckily, Chris met Josh on Twitter, and he was gracious enough to invite us down here. And it's no different down here. You still got to scout, put in the road time, you know, knock on doors, find where the ducks are if you want to be successful. This Oklahoma trip was special not only because of the end result of the number of ducks we killed, but it was also a great way to bring together guys from all across the country. Even had one of my close friends, Casey Shootman, who's the editor and producer of the Management Advantage. He got to come along, and he doesn't get to do a lot of duck hunting. You know, he didn't grow up in a prime area. But with the habitat project that Josh Dickerson was doing in Oklahoma, we figured we could tag team it and shoot a show for TMA and shoot a show for Fouled Reality.
My name is Josh Dickerson, and I love to hunt ducks, buddy. There's people around the country just like us, you know, that just love waterfowling. You know, and with all the communication ways that we have now with the internet, you know, social media and stuff, you meet guys that are just like you know, just different states.
Josh and the Ohio guys went one direction. We went the other direction, you know, very unfamiliar with the territory, and we finally got onto a group of birds. Josh called me, he got onto a group of birds, and we found them in this a cut bean field. You wouldn't think there was any food there just looking at it from the road, but man, those birds were in it. And it was so interesting watching these birds feeding, and when they hit this ground to land in the field, it's like they hit the ground and it was a dead sprint to wherever they were going. There was a non-stop, it was a moving black cloud through the bean field. And you know, being here in my part of Illinois, I don't see that. You know, we got a lot of good corn growing around here, and if dry field feeding, that's what they're in. They're in corn mostly. So this was an experience in and of itself for me, just watching them do this, and they did not stop coming into this field. Thousands of them. We got permission set out to hunt that bean field the next morning, and it was on.
Those are like peanut beans. There's plenty for them to eat there.
Oh, you gotta keep it off right here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You know, we got this field here, and it's got the ditch running through it. We've got about a 50-yard strip on one side and a big open field on the other. Birds are working both sides of the ditch, on the ditch, within 10 yards of the ditch when we scouted them. Especially with the temperatures, you know, they need the protein to keep moving, to keep migrating. You know, you get temperatures below freezing, they got to feed twice a day, and you gotta have the food for them. You know, we saw these birds hitting this field, and it's bare. It's a bare soybean field. You know, here in Oklahoma, they've been, you know, cutting and then cutting the soybeans and then baling baling it like hay, all the stubble, and sending it off, for cow feed or whatever. And then you walk out here and there's beans everywhere, and I imagine it was because of the hot summer and they probably didn't grow high enough for the head, of the combine, and so they spilled a lot, and they run across this field, boy, after them beans. When there's that many birds, it's competition to get that food. So it worked good. We had guys down here this week from Ohio. Never met them in my life. They walk in the door and it's like you've known them forever. Just because you've talked to them, and you know what they hunt, you know what they like. It's like you've seen them the day before. It's an awesome feeling to be able to share that with those guys. Another thing that I've started doing is working with the Paralyzed Vets of America. We've got a local chapter here. A friend of mine, he's paralyzed. He's not a vet, but he's paralyzed, and he heads up the local chapter. And I've started helping him just set up blinds, be the backdoor person. If he's got a guy out there who shoots a deer, I'll go out and gut it for him and drag it for him or whatever. And I'm leading into getting them into waterfowling and finding spots we can get wheelchairs in, just accessibility. That property again, I made roads that we can get them guys to drive the truck right down in there, and I don't need a four-wheeler, I don't need anything. I can just drive the truck right down there and drop them off and get them in a spot next to a tree, and they can shoot ducks. I really believe in hunters needing a mentor. A father or uncle or friend or whatever it takes. I really believe in that, and I'm doing that for my kids and other kids. I mean, we do youth hunts and teenagers, college kids, whoever wants to go that I can see that wants it, has the drive, not just a little free ride, or whenever they want to go, they want the drive,
Definitely learned a lot from Blake and Chris over the past couple days. Learning how to scout the ducks is what I really learned this trip. We had ducks piling in the field one afternoon. We go, we hunt it, we hammer ducks. We come back the next night, they're not hitting the exact spot, they're hitting about a quarter mile away, and I'm like, what's the difference? They're gonna pile in there. You got decoys out, the first one that comes by, they're gonna hit it. And that's not the case. The second day, we watched duck after duck after duck go and hit that same spot that was a quarter mile from us. And we just happened to get lucky and pull, just enough ducks to dang near get a limit.
And so we switched up the decoy spread a little bit, put a few more out and still drew them in and slaughtered. It's there's nothing like it. There's nothing like field hunting. You might not be on the X, but you don't need 5,000 birds. You need 500. I'm part of a group called First Light Gear. It's started by a couple brothers up in Michigan. Basically, we all just love the outdoors. What we realize is that we want to do what we do with the best gear out there too. And with the fast-paced life of most outdoorsmen, they're weekend hunters or whatever. And the way the economy is, people want deals on good gear, not junk, good gear. And so what we decided to do was start putting out an email to our subscribers on deals on the internet, not necessarily our sponsors or anything like that, just we look at reviews on every deal we put out there and make sure it's got good reviews and good gear, and we throw 8 or 10 out there a week.
We didn't end up killing a lot of birds in the afternoon hunt, but we saw something that you just don't ever get to see. And you can't explain it, you can't film it, but when you got 5,000 mallards hovering above you and chattering back at you, wanting to land, because that is the X. It gave me goosebumps. I mean, I had goosebumps. I still got goosebumps talking about it right now. And they ended up landing in the field. I crawled down the ditch and filmed them, and you have never heard the growling, the just absolute hunger that those ducks had. They were sprinting across the field, feeding like crazy.
Hung up, can't get out.
That's a problem to have. Be back in the morning.
Surrounded by birds.
And you ain't got to say a word to them. They just lock it. Just give them time. They ain't gonna see you. Come on here.
You hunt different ducks in the morning there than what you saw that evening. You know, typically you find a field with ducks in it that night, you're going to hunt those same ducks the following morning. Well, for whatever reason, I don't think that's the case for the birds that we shot in the morning, because the birds that we saw coming in the morning were coming from a different direction we saw them coming from that evening, and we were hunting different birds, and it's what helped work everything out for us, and it's why we were able to go back into it for 3 consecutive days and absolutely burn them.
That's all we need. Say, you wanna kill these? Kill them, kill them.
And you know, I've got a group of dedicated guys that hunt with me, and we call ourselves the Down Patrol. You know, just something we come up with, and you know, they've got various experiences. I've got a guy that's been hunting for 40 years. You know, I've been at it for 22, I think, and you know, we got other guys that are brand new. You're really mentoring them guys too, and I'm being mentored. You know, I've got a guy, you know, that's got 40 years experience that's taught me way more than I've ever known, you know, and that's just in the last 2 years. So a friend of mine's kid today went hunting on his own with some friends, and he led them up, and he sent me a message today saying thank you, you know, for teaching me, you know. So that's what it's all about. That's truly what it's all about.
Best way to get a cutaway is fake somebody out.
You got something in your beard. Oh.
That's a sweet beard. I think it's pumpkin pie Pop-Tart. Ooh, I had some last night.
You're eating my Pop-Tarts?
There's no milk in it.